Right now, somewhere out there, there's an educator delivering a mind-altering lesson to their class.
I want to engage your brains in this.
Try to get my head around how vast our Earth is.
But that lesson only reaches the students in that room. What would happen if we could capture that lesson?
This is a toothed wheel.
What if pro animators and visualization artists could bring that lesson to life?
It's an object we see every day that would literally fit 1 million Earths.
It's got a bunch of notches and it's got a bunch of teeth. This was Fizo's solution.
When that lesson lands, curiosity is ignited.
Seems impossibly big, but
And something interesting happens.
in the great scheme of things, just a pinprick.
A door is starting to close on the light beam that's coming back to his eye.
Then that group of students is one thought closer to being what every teacher hopes their students will become, a lifelong learner.
Based on the distance between the two stations,
The quest for knowledge and understanding never gets dark. It doesn't.
he calculates the speed of light to within 2% of its actual value.
The more you know, the more amazing the world seems.
That's the central mission of TED, to capture and to amplify the voice of the world's greatest teachers.
He does this in 1849.
And it's the crazy possibilities, the unanswered questions that pull us forward. So, stay curious.
TED is really an invitation to teachers all around the world to submit their best lessons.
We review each submission and we work with the educators to refine the lesson and make sure that they're less than 10 minutes long.
From there, we mail out these portable recording booths. A teacher pulls up their final lesson, presses record, and then can instantly share it with our animation team.
It's also an invitation to animators. We are looking for talented animators to get involved, submit their reels, and help us animate these incredible lessons.
Right now, there's a gifted educator somewhere out there delivering a life-changing lesson. The TED team hopes that anyone who's passionate about education will help us find that teacher, capture that moment, and amplify it the way that it deserves to be amplified.
We are actually lucky enough to have Logan here with us today. So now he's going to come out and answer some questions about TED Ed. Logan? Thanks.
Hey, everyone. How's it going? Thank you guys so much for coming today. I'm really here just to do two things today. One is to congratulate CATPickering and everyone who's involved in making this happen, including you guys, on setting up what looks like it's going to be an incredible event, and hopefully you guys will do it many, many more times, because these TEDx events are really sort of the lifeblood, and certainly everyone at the TED office in New York is constantly inspired by everything that you guys do in the communities. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you, Deb, for having me. The other thing I want to do is listen. I'm going to give you a short update on TED Ed. We launched last week after announcing our intention of TED Ed about a year ago. And in 1 week, it launched last Monday. The 12 lessons that we put up have been viewed over 1 million times. And they feature Adam Savage, and one of the other more colorful sort of breakout videos is a guy who beatboxes to a human cockroach. It's a demonstration in science on how you can, on neurons and how they work, and how a cockroach can dance if you beatbox into it. It's been a really exciting week, a really crazy week. We've had thousands of teachers be nominated and thousands of animators be nominated. And the way that it works is they basically sort of pitch a lesson on the nomination form, and we go through, and when we find one that really pops, we start working with that teacher, just like the video said, to capture or to refine the lesson, and then we send them a portable audio recording unit, which consists of an iPad, a microphone, and a soundproof hood. The teacher then speaks the lesson and sort of performs it almost, and then we hand that recording over to an animator who takes anywhere from a week to many, many months, depending on the type of animation, to bring it to life. One thing before I open up to sort of questions, and I hope you guys will give feedback, because this is very much a discovery phase, but I do want to be very clear. TED Ed is not meant to be a sort of silver bullet that's going to cure all the ailments of education. It's simply meant to be an an experiment where we put forth some incredible examples of teachers and lessons that is useful to students and to catalyzing curiosity in classrooms around the world. And I think a lot of what TED Ed is actually what it will become. And that's why I'm going to be quiet and listen to what you guys think about the initiative. Where should we take it? Where could we take it? I know everyone in this room has a deep passion for education. I'm particularly interested in hearing from some of the students. The last thing I'll say before I open it up is that we are launching a website April 10th. I can't tell you a ton about it because it's not launched yet. But on April 10th, you'll see this content that we're creating and that we're committed to creating from now until forever will be housed in a really unique website that I think teachers and students will find really useful and really interesting. So, who's brave enough to raise their hand first? Yes. Hold on, he's going to bring a microphone to you.
Hi. My question is, what is the major difference between the TED Ed initiative and the TEDx initiative, which ends up teaching? Because I see that a lot of the videos on the TED site from TED and TEDx are kind of submitting a lesson or trying to teach in a different way. What is the major difference between that and the TED Ed initiative?
That's a really good question. So the major difference between TED Ed and TEDx, you're right in that they're both sort of open for submissions and open for interpretation and participation. The main emphasis from TED Ed is to really honor and amplify the voice of great educators, whereas some speakers at a TEDx event might be teachers, might be educators, and might not be. They might come from various fields. TED Ed is really focused both on teachers and people whose work is particularly educational. I realize that isn't the most clear line, but I think after April 10th, when the website launches, you'll see the difference in the two very important projects a bit more clearly, because a lot of the magic of TED Ed is going to be achieved via the website and how these videos are made available. And interestingly, the TEDx videos will also be made available through TED Ed. So it's sort of one way to think about it is as a more TEDx as a more made for physical space endeavor, and TED Ed as a more made for an online endeavor, so that we can pool the talent of all these and input of students and teachers, and so that other students and teachers can benefit from that pooled talent. Yeah.
I don't know if I need a mic, but my question is, how did this initiative come to be? Like, I know at TED you guys are always coming up with new ideas and trying to improve kind of what you have on this site, but how did this idea specifically come about?
I think that this idea, I really believe that the seeds of this idea were sort of sown the first time a TED Talk was put online. There's amazing things, gosh, it's so obvious to say now, but how amazing the internet is and the economies of scale that it provides to anyone with internet access. And so here's a story that might help put it in perspective. Hans Rosling, has anyone seen the Hans Rosling talk? Just by show of hands. Okay. Well, there's this incredible TED Talk on TED.com called Hans Rosling talking about the developing world. And he has this incredible accent where he uses the screen to announce this live dynamic graph growing as the developing world grows, and he does it across time, and he shouts it out like a sportscaster. Here comes China and there goes the Berlin Wall, etc. And it's really one of the most engaging talks we've ever put online. Before that talk was launched, Hans taught for 40 years as statistics, and he thinks that out of all the books that he wrote, all the lectures that he gave, all the students that he had in each class for 40 years, he probably reached about 1 million people. After just 4 years of giving that TED Talk, that particular lesson has reached 6 million people. So is it the same? No. Is it apples to apples, definitely not. Clearly, the internet wasn't invented 40 years ago, but we think there's something incredible to be said for finding a teacher and providing a platform for their voice to reach a global scale. And the benefits are yet to be determined.
Is there a chance in the future that the TED Talks or the TED Ed Talks will be turned into like multiple languages? I mean, it seems like they're all in English right now. Like, is there a chance it would go more worldwide?
Yeah, I think about a couple of months ago, we posted our first TED Talk that was in a non-English language. It was in Spanish. And as part of our open translations project, any talk that you find on TED.com is actually, almost all of them are translated into over 80 languages via subtitles. So it's not a dub over, but it's a read. And that's through this project that we have called the Open Translation Project, where volunteer translators from all over the world localize the voice of the talk for their community, their language, their dialect. It's a pretty amazing project, in my opinion. There is talk of dub-overs in the future, and we are looking for ways to incorporate more non-English talks into the homepage effectively. And the same will go for TED Ed videos.
I just have a question about how, I guess, TED Ed is selecting the educators, because I know you said there have been thousands that have been nominated already. So I was just wondering what TED Ed, I guess, what their criteria is to select the educators for them to record their lessons and have them be like submitted in a new way.
Sure. It's similar to the way that the TED.com selects speakers as they're nominated. We listen really closely. We follow the patterns of the submissions. Usually someone's going to be nominated more than once. Also, the lesson, it's funny, but when you look at it all, it comes in via a form, and it looks like a really big spreadsheet. The really good stuff actually just really pops. And we often distribute it out to educators, anonymously, of course, to see what would be most useful to them. And it's sort of an amazing example of wisdom from the crowd, in that the ones that are picked by both the editorial team and educators at large are almost always the same. So it's sort of like a distributed crowd decision across the team and across other educators. And the emphasis is focusing on the teacher themselves and the actual lesson pitched, the sort of short pitch. And then we work very closely with them to develop it from there. Deb said we have time for one more. And before I do the last question, I would also like to say, if anyone is interested, we will be launching the TED Ed website April 10th, like I said. And we're currently asking for beta testers to test it out the week before. So if anyone is interested, please just send an email to education@ted.com, and we will send you the website to beta test, and we would really appreciate it, because you guys are the ones that we aim to serve with the website. Any more questions? All right. Okay, well, if you have anything, education@ted.com. We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for having me today, and I look forward to joining you watching these speakers. Thank you.